Should you buy Need for Speed Heat? I finished the game. I've played 40 hours of it over the course of the past week or so, week and a half or so. All I have left to do is get the collectibles, and then I'm literally done with Need for Speed Heat. But anyway, with all this being said, Need for Speed Heat is quite easily the best Ghost Games Need for Speed game that they have made to date. The story had me engrossed even though it was cheesy, and let's be honest, no one really buys a Need for Speed game for the story. But the characters were charming, the villains were actually evil, and it all made sense, unlike Payback in 2015. The world is almost like another character of its own. It breathes life. I think it's one of the best worlds that has featured in a Need for Speed game, period. Not to mention the numerous other core gameplay mechanics that have been improved since. And that's the one thing I would want you guys to take out of this video. It's the core of the game which has been improved, not only for this game, but for the future as well. In this game, you essentially have two different worlds, the daytime and the nighttime. Daytime is sanctioned racing, where you compete in the Speed Hunter Showdown, which weirdly you actually never race in the story. It's quite weird. And the nighttime, where things get illegal and the cops come out to play. That's how day and night are separated. In the daytime, you earn money, and in the nighttime, you earn rep. So you will find when you're playing the game that you will actually end up going into the nighttime to actually progress in the story, but then you'll kind of hit a limit of where your car can be, and you'll have to go back into the daytime to earn enough money to earn the upgrades so you can then progress further in the nighttime. For me, nighttime is my favorite out of the two gameplay things, but it does become a little bit pointless once you reach max rank, which is rep level 50. Once you've hit 50, there's quite literally no point in collecting rep because there is a level cap, which does make nighttime a little bit redundant once you finish the game. And like I said, I've only played 40 hours. Someone could easily clock that much time in a month, and then if you think about it from that perspective, after a month, there's not much to do in the nighttime, but we're going to go ahead and talk about that kind of stuff a little bit later. The progression is also fantastic. This is something which Need for Speed games, for me, always nail. The progression and the rate of, earning items, I think is awesome. Once you finish the story, there's still so much more stuff to collect and to earn. For example, the collectibles, something I'm still going through. The FXXK is unlocked through crew. I believe you have to get your crew to level 50, and I'm still on the way to do that. The handling is also something which is greatly improved in this game. It just is leaps and bounds better than the previous games. You can predict where the handling is going to go. It's never going to jolt out on you unless you are in the drift cars. I have found that some of the drift cars are really, really hard to handle, and I just feel like compared to the other two games, the drift handling is taking a little bit of a back seat, and it's a lot harder to use this time round. Luckily, in the live tuning options, you can turn on brake to drift if you please to do that, or you can turn on clutch kicking, which basically means you have to stab the throttle twice and then your car will enter a drift, and that's all available in the live tuning menu. That leads me perfectly on to the performance customization, which has also been revamped this time in Need for Speed Heat. So this time round, speed cards are completely gone, as you might already be aware, but this time round, there's a performance matrix. So this is really kind of decided on what parts you put on your car manually. So if you put a race differential on, obviously your car isn't going to be sliding anytime soon. However, if you put a drift differential on, you can expect that back end to really come out more. It's completely down to you. You have full reign on what you want to do, and all of these parts are unlocked in-game through gameplay, which is absolutely awesome as well. Not to mention, engine swaps have also come to Need for Speed for the first time ever, which is also really, really cool, as well as passive and active bonuses which you can add to your car called auxiliary parts. These things include like reinflatable tires, refills to your NOS, refills to your repair kit, which you can actually have on your car. It's really, really cool. Definitely recommend messing around with that if you already have the game. The cars are also another great point in Need for Speed, and this is something which I think this time round they've done really well. This time they've actually added legend cars with the original body kits from the original games that those respective cars come from. Examples of this include the M3 GTR, the Underground 1 Skyline, which you probably saw in the thumbnail of this video. There's also special edition cars. These are special cars that are usually variants of ones that already exist in the car list. Unfortunately, you can't customize these in any way, shape or form, and there is a pretty heavy lack of like JDM and tuner cars, which is quite weird for a game that's heavily centered around customization. Speaking of customization, the customization is pretty good. There is a lot of customization lacking for pre-existing cars. For example, my favorite car is the R32 GTR Skyline, and this car has not received any new parts since 2015. That's 4 years of Ghost games and it's not received one part. This goes for a lot of the other cars that are in the game that have, you know, been in Need for Speed since 2015, since Ghost did the revamp. There's just not a lot of parts for the pre-existing cars. And it's pretty obvious which cars are new and which cars are old, just because the, you know, the old models are starting to date now. They just don't sit as low, the wheels don't poke out as much, they haven't got as much customization, and you know what, the handling definitely feels different on them. I'm so certain of that. But overall, if you like Need for Speed, you'll definitely like the car list. It's, you know, varied, there's a lot of customization for most of the cars, and Ferrari makes a return, so that's pretty cool. But that's it for the good points for now. We will come back to a few other ones I have, because I've got loads to say about this game. We're going to go ahead and talk about some of the cons for the meantime though. So I think the first thing to talk about really is the lack of multiplayer in Need for Speed Heat. There really is a huge lack of multiplayer in this game. You could almost play this without even realizing there's a multiplayer in it. Now, you can go into all drive and free roam with your friends and do events with your friends, but you can't complete the story in co-op. There isn't any PvP or, you know, speed lists. That doesn't return from previous games. And autolog is pretty much redundant because there's a really big problem with corner cutting in this game. If you were expecting replayability from autolog, don't be, because, like I said, corner cutting is a really big problem in Need for Speed Heat, and it needs to be addressed, because it basically allows you to literally cut up the track to the point where you're not even racing the pre-designed route, you're literally making your own route through the checkpoints. The story's pretty short, it can be done in around about 9 hours, and you can be done with everything else within about 15 or 20 if you aren't going for the end game parts. The UI can be a little bit confusing, the AI can be really inconsistent. The story came to a very abrupt end. I'm not going to talk about it, I'm not going to like ruin it for you guys, but it wasn't the greatest. And for anyone playing on PC, I've been having really bad like PC stutter on a Ryzen 1700X and a GTX 1080 Ti. So, and that's at high at 1080p. So if anyone here has like a low end rig, you might struggle to run this game. And that's something which I obviously can't, I can only speak for what I've been using. So there is definitely things wrong with this game, and those are the key highlights. Again, I'm going to be making videos about things I want to see come to the game, because there is a lot of stuff to talk about. And that kind of leads me up to the overall question: is Need for Speed Heat worth it? I think a lot of this comes down to who you are as a person. If you really enjoy and kind of miss classic Need for Speed, you know, the classic Need for Speed arcade experience, I think you're going to see a lot of value in this game, even with its flaws. PvP and its multiplayer problem has to get fixed in live service, otherwise this game is going to die in a month or two. It's going to suffer the same fate The Crew 2 did, for anyone that, you know, was around for that, and it needs things to do. I have almost finished everything there is to do in the game, and once I have, I honestly will play it a lot less. And I don't want to say that, I don't want to have to say that, but it's true. The good thing about Heat is that these problems that were so huge in the last 2 games, these pre-existing problems at the core of the game, have now been fixed. So Ghost games can actually walk forward, you know, and actually start adding things instead of going back and trying to fix things. But if you are planning on playing this game hard, there is definitely a lack of things to do once you finish the main quest line. And that kind of leads me to my conclusion. If you are a really big fan of the classic Need for Speed arcade experience and you really miss that, if you play racing games a lot to any capacity, definitely get this game. Or at least get the EA Access trial, so then you can make up your mind before purchasing the full game. However, if you're a little bit of a casual, or you know, you're not really sold on what you've seen so far, wait for a few updates, wait for the PC problems to get fixed, wait for PvP to get added, wait for, you know, all these little inconsistencies to fix, because this is all something they can do in live service, and wait for like update 1 or 2 in live service. That will be my general consensus. It's a huge return to form compared to Payback, compared to 2015, but there is underlying problems. But I don't think this should take away from what Ghost Games has done with this game. Need for Speed is truly and utterly back. There's just a few things they need to iron out before, you know, they can become king again. At the moment for me, my current racing game of this generation is Forza Horizon 4, and Need for Speed can definitely be up there with Forza Horizon 4. It just needs a few updates. It needs PvP there for one, it needs, you know, actual stuff to do in its multiplayer. The photo mode needs to be upgraded, the vinyl wrap editor needs to be upgraded. There's a few things here and there, but right now, in its current state, it is a very, very good game. I hope that helped you guys make, a decision on whether you're going to purchase Need for Speed Heat or not. Definitely give it a go on the trial if you're unsure. I think at that point you probably would have already made your mind up. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I'm going to be making videos on some of the more specific stuff like the drift physics and the multiplayer and the PvP in separate videos. So if that's something that interests you, make sure to go ahead and subscribe. But that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe and peace.